Welcome back to the S.L.I.D.E podcast, everyone. I'm your host, as always, Coach Aaron, and tonight we have got a superstar guest. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with who this guy is, but before we get to him, we're going to pretend like it's a secret, right? And we're not going to reveal who that guest is until it's time. So joining me tonight from Miami, Florida, Mr. Mikey Barrels, and from Illinois, but today, or actually this week, he's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. He's a little bit closer to me, Mr. Brian, kicking it with Brian. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Awesome. Well, how's the heat in Tennessee, Brian? Yeah, and it feels hotter probably, doesn't it? Yeah. Mikey, you're just used to that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just like shake it off Taylor Swift kind of, right? You're like, whatever. So, all right. Well, look, I know you guys are ballers. I know, Brian, you're traveling this week because you're playing in a cool tournament. But let us and our audience know what you guys have been up to. So, Brian, start us off, man. You're on the road. Where are you at, and what are you doing there? Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome. So you like Tennessee, huh?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that probably talk like me, right? Country there. Yeah. I appreciate how quickly you answered that. That makes me feel good, Brian. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you appreciate it. It's probably a big change from Illinois, and so we welcome you. Southerners, we love visitors, man. Just make yourself at home, right? Are you getting to do some of the fun stuff, Margaritaville and all of that area? Have you explored that area yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been your favorite part so far in Tennessee?
They ran.
Uh-oh. What's that? Really?
Yeah.
Where did you see one of those at?
It was summertime exotic farm, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. How was it?
It was awesome.
I mean, so supposedly these are like the world's biggest rodents, right? And but they're very similar to almost like a pet, like a dog, right?
Yeah.
Like how big was it?
Some were like small. I saw like 6 month old ones, and then there was a massive one, and
Yeah.
then like 2 years old. It was
Dude,
small.
I love that kind of stuff, man. I love animals. I have a heart for kids and animals. Sometimes I can't decide which one's better. Tonight I'm gonna say kids are better. So, but no, dude, that's super cool. You're gonna have to let me know where that place is, because next time we're up there on vacation, I'll have to visit that place. We did like an exotic petting zoo kind of thing nearby here, but they closed it down, and I got to pet like a kangaroo and a bunch of other like crazy things. So it was cool. It was cool. Mikey, you live in a world where like there's swamps everywhere. You got gators and like piranhas, maybe. I don't know, man. Like, what's going on in Miami right now?
Right now it's just been like really humid, kind of just like resettling in to like school and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's starting to get a little cool down, but it's still really hot, man.
Dude, I've always said I didn't care for cold weather. But as I have gotten older, maybe it's just my old age speaking, but man, I'm ready for some cool weather. Like, I've never been that person that said that, but this year I've been a lot different, man. I don't know. This heat is hot this year. Getting back to school. When did you get started back?
I started last week on Tuesday.
Okay. And what grade are you in now?
I'm in seventh.
Seventh grade. How is it, man? How was it going from sixth to seventh?
Uh,
Ooh,
it's
6, 7, right? See, I'm old. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead, Mike.
uh, it's a big difference. I mean, it feels like you get to just experience so much more. The more you grow up, it's just amazing how much you just experience, and it's a lot.
Yeah. You like your teachers?
Yeah.
You got one that you don't like? You want to put them on blast tonight because they're giving you homework and stuff already?
Nah, none of them will
No.
get
Every time
bullied.
I ask that to someone, that they always shy away from it. And I know there's always that one teacher that just insists on giving homework the first day. Brian, when you start back to school? Okay, that's a good reason. Are you looking forward to it? Yeah. So my son, he's 11, and like he's itching and ready to go back to school, and I was never that way, man. Like I didn't want the summer to end because I spent all of my summers on my bike, and we were usually at the baseball field down near our house, and that's just where we hung out every day, all day, and we had fun. Mikey, you still playing some ball? You playing fall ball?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot lately. It's a few weeks ago, I went actually to Tennessee to play Ripken. It was fun. We got third as well, and it was a great experience. Like we did mini golfing and the roll. There's just so much to do there. Like it's amazing.
Well, you know what? That's fun to hear you guys say that because what I say, Mikey, is Miami's fun, and there's always something to do there. I mean, and you're telling me Tennessee's more fun than Miami. So, that's different perspectives, man. I like it. Now, here's the real question, Mike, and this is where things get serious. Are you ready for
Okay.
football season?
Yes.
All right.
I I'm waiting just hopefully this year the Dolphins could come up at least.
Well, I don't know about the Dolphins yet. I mean, you and I both are Dolphin fans, and I mean, at least we got Malik Willis. I mean, I think he's going to be better than Tua. I saw Tua the other night with the Falcons, and he's still Tua. He was 3 for 5, 22 yards, and he had a fumbled snap. And I mean, he's an amazing guy, but he's just not our quarterback. So,
Yeah.
but look, the Hurricanes, though, you got to be excited about
Oh,
that,
yeah. I,
right?
it's a lot of good players. It just seems really good. Hopefully we win it this year.
Dude, I was heartbroken last year, man, and
Yes.
I'm sure you were too. But I
Yeah.
got high hopes this year, man. I mean, I hope everybody in Miami feels Hard Rock Stadium. Look, you need to get everybody every time they play home. It doesn't matter who they play, dude. You just got to just rent some buses, you and your dad, and just bus everybody to the stadium because I get it's a pain to get there, but we got to fill that stadium up. Brian, who do you pull for in football? Because it's almost here, man. I need to know this. I don't have much to say about that one, man. You know, good luck to you. You got a good quarterback. I was on the fence with him there, but he's a fighter. He's a pretty good player. So I don't have much to say about NFC teams. I just hate on the AFC teams. So until we make it to the Super Bowl against your Bears or something, and then I have to hate on them. But other until then, you know what, guys? The cool thing is, it's almost we're all going to be in Iowa at the Field of Dreams in just a little over a month. Are you guys excited about that?
Yes. I can't wait. I saw the game of like the Phillies
Hmm.
and it just looks so cool, man. Like I just can't wait to go.
Have you guys ever been to the Field of Dreams?
No.
Brian, have you been? No. I haven't either, man. I'm 48 years old, dude. And every time I watch that movie, it gives me cold chills. I tear up. My wife and my family was making fun of me when I made them watch it because, first of all, you guys have seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Brian, you've seen Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because if you haven't, I'm just going to have to disqualify you until you've seen it and pass a quiz, and then you'll be able to go, okay? Because there's people that's coming that's never seen the movie, man. And you gotta understand the importance of that movie, man. And so, you know what? Let's just get on to our guest because he is coming with us to the Field of Dreams, joining us tonight from Arizona, Mr. Aiden McIntyre. Sir, how are you doing?
Doing really well. Glad to be on, and definitely looking forward to being in Iowa and getting to see you guys in person.
I know we're going to be out in the middle of nowhere in cornfields, so it's going to be fun, man. So look, we're excited to have you tonight, and I know these guys have got a lot of questions. I've got questions, and so hopefully Hopefully, I don't embarrass you guys too much tonight. You know, sometimes I have a tendency to do that. Mike, yeah, I appreciate the head nod and shake. You know, if Lila was on here, she would already be saying I'm embarrassing her. So, you know, I appreciate you guys. So, Aiden, all right, when we get started with every guest, man, give us your elevator 30, 45-second speech around like who you are, a little bit about you. And then the final question we always need to know is what's your favorite cereal?
Okay. Yeah, so I am now more known as a baseball YouTuber, content creator, but my background was I played baseball my whole life, ended up getting drafted and played minor league baseball with the Oakland Athletics. And then post my kind of baseball career was really where the YouTube specific side of things kind of took off. And so now my full-time job is something I enjoy a lot. And that's getting to be involved in baseball in a very different way, which is more of the content side of it, which has been a ton of fun. So I get a chance to meet a lot of awesome people beyond podcasts like this. And the biggest goal I think I have is to support kind of like the love of the game, grow the love of the game for kind of the next generations of players. I want to leave it better than I found it. And content's been a really unique way to be able to do that. And favorite cereal. To be honest, I don't really eat cereal, but I think I would go with the what's the chocolate Cocoa Pebbles or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Cocoa
Cocoa. Oh,
Pebbles?
I rarely eat it, but that would be the one I would go with.
all right. I'm a Fruity Pebbles kind of guy.
All right, there you go.
You can't go wrong with that. Mikey, what's your favorite cereal?
It's a mix, really. I like a lot of cereals. I
Pick
like,
one, dude. Which one?
it's probably, yeah, Fruity Pebbles too.
There you go. Always appreciate some Fruity Pebbles. Brian, you eat cereal?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. I
Well,
wish Lila was
yeah.
here tonight because so far this season I'm losing the battle. She's the cinnamon toast crunch person, and usually we're at this battle. And I appreciate the love for Fruity Pebbles tonight. So, well, Aiden, dude, so getting drafted, now being a content creator, you know, 15 years ago, this type of work wouldn't have existed, man. And like now you've found a way to stay in touch and in love with the game and really help kids around the country. Like, how has the content creation for you kind of changed your look and view of the game?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it definitely wasn't a thing 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Um, Content, especially for like baseball specifically, wasn't as much of a thing. So I started my YouTube channel in 2020 during COVID.
Hmm.
And so I was with the A's, but our minor league season got just completely canceled across the board. So I started the channel in 2020. And honestly, I started it mainly as I was a trainer. So I was helping pitchers train. And that was kind of why I started it, was more so like training specific. Um, and then I kind of got more into like showcasing minor league life, kind of like vlogs and things like that, because
Yeah.
one of the things I definitely saw with baseball was there was like an opening where there was a lot of content that just didn't exist that maybe existed in like other sports. So growing up as a kid, I would watch as much baseball as I could. So if there was like a baseball player who showed what minor league life was like, I would have watched it. Um, there weren't many big leaguers who did YouTube so it was definitely like less of a common thing. And then it really wasn't until after I got done playing that the content more so shifted and has kind of become what it is now. And like you said, it's been a really cool way to be able to stay in baseball because I think traditionally, once you're out of it as a player, the options are usually kind of being a coach or a trainer, and those are kind of it. There's not a ton of other options. And so I enjoy coaching, but that wasn't going to be my full time thing. And YouTube's almost been a cool mixture of I feel like I get to do content. I also get to coach, and kind of the combination of both has been, yeah, it's a ton of fun. I'll always say like I've gotten the chance to have like kind of two dream jobs, and
Hmm.
honestly, I mean, I think that I would choose the job I have now over the job of being a pro baseball player from an enjoyment standpoint and kind of from a fulfillment standpoint. I think I think it's like kind of the best job that I could imagine. So it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool, man. Like, just, I mean, first of all, congratulations for being drafted. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment in itself. And then being able to continue and find work that you love, man. I know these kids here are young, and most of the kids probably listen to this show. They're not even thinking about what they're going
Mhm.
to be doing after the game. But man, you always want to find something that when you get up in the morning, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And
And it's a
that's,
privilege. I always say, like, it's a privilege to do it. Um, I'll get asked a lot if being a YouTuber is hard. And I guess like the answer is kind of yes, from the standpoint of like there's a lot of things that go into it,
mm-hmm,
but no, it's not like I don't feel like it's hard from a job standpoint. It's a ton of fun. And like you said, I mean, when I was like Mikey or Brian's age, I didn't think about being anything besides a baseball player.
that's right.
And honestly, I mean, I think that's okay. I do think it's good to find other things that you like outside of being a baseball player. But I mean, for me, it's like when I was 12, 13, all the way through high school, baseball was the only thing I wanted to do. And I think it was kind of like YouTube wasn't even something I really necessarily wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big social media person. But it ended up it's been really, really cool. And I think that kind of like I said, like, I don't think you have to, if baseball's what you want to do, go for it. But I do think it's good to have other things that you like as well outside of
Yeah.
baseball.
Got to build the skill sets, because you
Yeah.
never know what will come your way. And sometimes you're gonna take a class and you're like, man, I don't know why I got to take this class. Mikey, I'm sure you have a few of them. You're like, this doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, math was it for
Yeah,
me.
but you know what? What's funny, Aiden, is more times than not when I ask kids what their favorite subject is, it's math.
Good for
And
them.
like, it was never my favorite. Mikey, what's your favorite subject?
PE.
Oh, see, I knew you and I were on the same page. I knew I liked you, Mikey. Brian, what's your favorite subject?
Good for
Is it
you.
really? My sons too. There's something wrong with you kids. But you know what? I will say, every time you see that X plus Y equals some weird other letter, you know what? You're going to be using that in the future. It may not make any sense to you right now, but I can promise you, I've had to figure out how to do some of that math that I didn't pay attention to in school. So pay attention. All right, Aiden, I'm gonna let some of these guys throw around some questions, and you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Awesome, Brian, you can go first, man. What you got?
No, I played like every position as like a kid, and then in high school I was really small, or I was really small when I was younger. So I was like freshman year of high school, I was 5'2", so I played
Wow.
second base, and then my sophomore year I was maybe 5'4", 5'5". So I kind of played shortstop, second, kind of middle infielder. Um, and then junior year, I was like 5'8", so they moved me to third base. And then senior year, I was like 6 foot. So I played a little bit of third base, but honestly, my senior year, I mostly sat on the bench and I didn't really play very much. So I didn't become a pitcher until after I graduated high school and was going to college.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, so a little bit of a unusual path. I had pitched as like a kid, but didn't see myself as a pitcher. Um, Part of it was I wanted to play in college, and I had a coach who was really good for me, and pretty much told me that my best chance to play in college was to try to be a pitcher because I never hit. And so
Right.
part of the transition though that made pitching in my mind easier was I knew how hard it was to hit, and hitting was always hard for me. So, kind of being a pitcher, it was like, well, guys just get themselves out. So it felt easier almost. But yeah, no, I played everywhere else besides pitcher until college.
Wow. That's crazy. Now, Aiden, I know you were on a journey to throw 90.
Hmm.
I saw some of that. How have you done so far in that journey?
It was good. So I actually did finish it up. It took about the goal was to try to throw 90 in like 60 days. So the final one I got up to was 91.5.
Let's go.
Um, So I mean, it went better than I thought it was going to go. I didn't get hurt doing it, so that was a good thing.
That's
But yeah, I think
important.
the hardest I ever threw when I played was like 97. I don't think I'll ever get back past 95, but it was fun to be able to throw 90 again.
Wow,
Yeah,
97. From a standpoint of not being a pitcher through most of your life, that's pretty awesome, man.
yeah, no,
That just means it's short and at second and at third you were rifling them down, man.
something like that. Yeah, my velo journey was. I think my freshman year of college or in high school, I think I threw my top velo was like 76. Wasn't hard. And then I think freshman year was like low 80s, kind of mid 80s through, and then senior year of college, and I got to like 94, 95.
Wow. What do you think it was that helped you with those every one of those increases?
I think some of it honestly was like development, and it's something I'll usually say in conversation with like younger players. Is your body needs time to develop. If you aren't the biggest kid at 12, like doesn't mean you won't end up being almost as big or bigger than other kids. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think for me it was like developing because I started college at 6 foot, and then by sophomore year I was like 6'5". So I mean I kept growing. Um, so the velo just kind of came, and I think a lot of it was like I went to a lot of it was due to training and kind of taking it a little bit more seriously, and that was where the biggest jump happened. But
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it takes time, and it's just because you're not ready at 17, 18 doesn't mean that you won't be potentially ready at 19, 20.
That's a good message right there because there's a lot of kids these days, 12, 13, 14, rushing to hit 80,
Mhm.
rushing to hit 90. And then I'm seeing some of the same kids and I'm like, "Hey, how's your season?" Well, my shoulders, I had to
Mhm.
take a season off. And for all you out there that are pitchers that you want to see your velos start, it'll come, right? It'll come. Man, that's an amazing example right there as to how things can change, and maybe not when you expected it to change, but
Mhm.
when your body said it was ready to change. So that's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Very
Yeah,
cool.
no, I agree with it. I think for myself too, like if I was 12, obviously you want to be the best player you can possibly be. And at the same time, like your body's only physically able to throw so hard, hit so hard. So I think that some of it just like takes time. And that's where I think if you love the game, whether you're necessarily the best player or not, or whether you're performing well or not, that's kind of the best way long term is if you enjoy it, you're going to give yourself a better chance.
That's very true. And the game gets harder the older you get. So you got to love it
Yeah.
because baseball is a game of failure. We all say it. And you got to love it to get through that failure. So, Mikey, I know you're ready, man. Let's go.
Yeah. So, Aiden, when you were in the draft and you finally heard your name get called, what was going through your mind?
That's a good question. So the day when I got drafted, it was day 3 of the draft. So this is when there was still 40 rounds. So going into the draft, I had no idea if I was actually going to get drafted or not. I knew I had potential, and it would be on the third day. So it would have been the third day of the draft. I was with my whole family. And funny enough, so I got drafted by the A's, but the teams I thought that were going to draft me were not the A's. So I thought it was going to be potentially the Marlins, Cubs, or the Dodgers, or the Giants. Those were kind of the ones I talked to the most. Um, but yeah, it was the 22nd round, and funny, I mean, I actually we had the TV on, and I got the alert on my phone first, and then like 5 seconds later, it was announced on the TV.
Oh,
And yeah, it was really cool. And I think that maybe what was going through my head was more so just like the uh, not relief, but like yeah, I think I got to enjoy it because I definitely wasn't somebody who was supposed to be drafted even the year before that. So yeah, just kind of made it feel like it was all worth it. And I'll always be forever grateful to the A's for taking the chance and drafting me. And yeah, it was a really cool moment, a really special moment. And to get to be with the whole family was pretty cool.
that's so awesome. Just being able to, I mean, because obviously you watch the drafts and you get to see
Mhm.
the players and their families, and every one of those are so awesome. And I can't
Yeah.
imagine being in your shoes, getting to experience that moment. Man, it's
Yeah.
something you'll get to tell your kids about, man. That's pretty awesome. I will say I grew up an A's fan.
Okay.
I'm definitely a lot older than you. So I grew up in the Canseco, McGuire.
Good
Uh,
era to be an A's fan.
that's right, dude. I watched the '88 World Series, and I got to see Kirk Gibson do his little fist pumping as he rounded the bases and eliminated us. And then the following year, we swept the Giants, but not before the earthquake happened. And
Yep.
so that caused me to have to miss the game, miss baseball there for almost a week. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Mike, are you a Marlins fan?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
What do you guys? Did you guys see this past weekend the rookie who hit 3 home runs his first 3 at bats, Joshua
Yeah,
Baez?
Yeah.
check.
Like,
Pretty good start to a career.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys see his game number 2?
I did
Did you?
not.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm a box score guy. Like I
Uh-huh.
love reading box scores, and so I saw day 1. I saw the highlights. Day 2, he got humbled. Right, baseball's a humbling sport. He went 0 for 5 with 3 Ks. But you know what? Day
Mhm.
1, it's okay. If you strike out 3 times the next day, it's okay. I think
Oh
so.
yeah.
Like, man, it was crazy. So, all right, Aiden, I got a question. So, you were talking about through that process as you were talking to these different teams. What is that process like? Like, what kind of questions are they asking you?
Yeah, it looks different for every team is a little bit different. So there's for some players who are like a early rounder, typically their forms are filled out all together. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like all 30 teams. There's like one form that you fill out and that every team gets, and then some teams will send you more follow up. Um, but for me, it was really my senior year of college, so it would have been. I'm pretty sure I had 2 starts left in my college career, and that was when I got my first questionnaire. So my senior year hadn't gone as well as I was hoping it was going to go,
Mm-hmm.
stat wise. But I got my first questionnaire, I think, like with 2 starts left, and then maybe filled out 2 to 4 of them. And then after my last college start, I had a really good outing, and that was where I think I ended up filling out like 16. But I was filling them out during graduation week of college, and most of them were paper. Like they send it to you in the mail, and you fill it out
Mm-hmm.
and you send it back. Some of them were pretty like standard. Um, some of them were a lot more in depth. I can't actually remember what team it was, but I know there was one team where you had to do like a personality quiz.
I was
Um,
wondering if they did that.
yeah, so some of the teams it was a lot more in depth. I also think that maybe some of that's like the interest level depending on the team. So some of them are a little bit more in depth. They'll have like personality stuff, quizzes, things like that to kind of get the full picture of you as a player, but also as a
Right.
person. And then a handful of the teams I'd like talked to scouts, and then most of them it was just fully questionnaire, send it back. But that's why there were a few teams I thought were I would have gone to mainly just because I had talked to them the most, but ended up being the A's. The Marlins were one of the teams I had talked to a little bit, so it was yeah, it was a kind of interesting process. And at that point, I think it was like the draft was maybe 2 months after season ended, or about a month, so there was a gap um, where you're just kind of waiting.
Yeah. The Lord didn't bless me with a lot of patience, and I'm still learning how to do that. And I can't imagine, man, that waiting that 2 months, man. I got to be
Yeah,
ready for it to come.
yeah,
So,
no, and it was. I mean, obviously the draft is a little bit different now, but I'll always be grateful for my time and the experience I had with it was really cool.
so I've read some things regarding the MLB draft and them
Mhm.
looking to not force, to motivate kids, let's say, to go
Yeah.
spend 2 years in college ball before they become draft eligible. I haven't heard an update. Does that look like it's going to come through, or do you know?
I don't know as far as where it stands. I do know that I think that's from the MLB side of things, not
Mm-hmm.
the MLBPA. Um, I mean, my overall thoughts on it are like I think there's not that many kids who are drafted out of high school anyway. Like right now, with the draft being decreased, I don't really see an issue with like incentivizing going to school. I also think that kids should have the option if they're in an opportunity where they can sign or go to college. I think it's good to give players the option. I'm always pro player and their choice. Do I think it's really hard to go from high school to pro baseball? Yeah, very hard. But I've seen a lot of guys do it and be really good players. So I do think that I would like to see it still be an option for players. I think with the way the draft is going anyway, they're trying to kind of shorten it and have like less rounds. And I
Mm-hmm.
think naturally it's going to go push guys more into college. But I still think if a player is a potential draft pick out of high school, like they can have the option to kind of choose what they want.
Yeah, there's a couple playing today or right now that got drafted right at high school, right?
Yeah.
Holiday, Max Clark. Those are just the two on the top of my head, but I know there's quite a
Yeah.
few others as well. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of organizations do it really well too. So if you get a kid at 18, like there's a lot of time to be able to develop them. The year I was drafted, the A's only signed one high school player, and that was Lawrence Butler. and he's obviously a big league player.
There you go.
I think he's got a ton of upside, and I mean, he was kind of a grown man at 18, like, and I think that for him getting to develop with a pro team was good for him, and obviously worked out. So I would always choose to leave it up to the players to decide.
Very cool. That's good news for you guys, right? That means because, we all know you guys want to get drafted out of high school, right? That's the plan. Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Brian. If you got drafted, where would you want to go? I figured the Cubs.
Those are good picks.
Yeah. And then obviously the Yankees are kind of, yeah. Unless you're a Red Sox fan, I feel like most people are going to say the Yankees. But if you're a Red Sox fan, you're not allowed to say that. So, Mikey, where would you want to go, man?
Probably like Toronto or Mariners.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't expect those two. That's good stuff, though.
Those are good picks.
Yeah, like what makes you pick those two?
It's like I feel like they both have like a good franchise organization. I just like to explore sometimes, so I would like to also see how it is out there in like Toronto and in Seattle.
Well, I mean, coming from Miami, you're trying to get as far away from mom and dad as possible, huh? Because that's on the other side of the country. That's the furthest part that you can get. So, but that's okay. That's okay. I agree, though, dude. I like to travel. I like to see the different things, and you picked two areas that I've never been before. So, good picks, man. I like it. Mikey, what questions you got for Aiden now?
Uh, who is the biggest influence as like a baseball player for you?
So growing up, my favorite player was Hank Aaron. And that was because I kind of grew up watching a lot of almost like older film. So I watched a lot of the whole Ken Burns series, kind of like grew up watching a lot of the older players. And so Hank Aaron was, for some reason, my favorite player as a kid. So I always wore 44 when I could. And that's still like kind of my favorite number. But I guess guys that like I remember when I was like actually probably around like your age or more so in like high school, some guys that were really fun to watch. Obviously, like you had Prime Pujols, and you had like the Red Sox. You had David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. Like there's a lot of players. I don't know if I had a favorite that I like almost influenced how I played. I mean, I think I would have liked to have played like any of them. But those were some of my favorite players growing up. I feel like there's obviously some really good players now to watch as well.
All right, here's a question for you, Aiden and Mikey. You guys know who Hank Aaron is, right, Brian?
Yeah.
You guys know who. All right, please tell me you know who Hank Aaron is. Okay, cool. All right. I didn't know this until about 3 episodes ago. All right, and maybe I was just out in the dark, but I didn't realize that when he started, he had his hands reversed. Right? So normally, you're right-handed, that's your top hand. He started with his right hand on the bottom.
I don't know.
Did you guys know
that? Know that either. No.
Yeah.
I had no clue. And they had to change it because they were worried he was going to hurt himself.
Yeah. I had no idea.
But he was still smashing balls with his hands reversed. Because imagine the torque, right? Because it's not natural and the torque can happen, but
didn't know it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Look, you know what? Every once in a while, I teach somebody something. It's not meaning. It's not much.
A good fun fact.
There it is. There it is. Brian, you up, man? Ooh, that's a good question.
So interesting enough for me, obviously, where the A's were, they're in Arizona, their spring training complex. So the complex was 15 minutes from where I lived and where my family was. So it was the shortest commute of anybody there. So the A's spring training complex is in Mesa, and I think that the draft was on the 6th. We probably reported maybe like the 10th. I think it was a few days after or something like that. And pretty much the first like 3 days are just physicals. And like, so pretty much you go in, you meet the staff, they talk to everybody, and then you do your whole physical. So that was like the first 2 or 3 days. And then once you're cleared, you get to start practice. But it was weird because how close it was for me. It was like a 15-minute drive. But I still remember one of the funny things from the first day was we had our head of player development, and we had the whole team sitting in there, everybody who just got drafted, and then the whole training staff, and everybody introduces themselves. And then I'll still remember because one of the lines he said was pretty much like, we're glad to have everybody here. And he goes, if you're, I think we drafted 36 guys. And so he's like, if you are somebody who's sitting here, he's like, the odds that only 2 players in this room will make the big leagues. So he's like, if you're not sitting here wondering who the other guy is, you're probably wrong. And so I still will remember that line, and I think it's a good line because I think that at the time, all 36 players, I mean, that's the attitude you would want them to have, is who's the other guy. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. And I mean, it was the first time in my baseball career that I ever had a locker, because none of the colleges I went to had locker rooms. So it was the first time I ever had a locker and a custom jersey with my name on it. So it was pretty cool to kind of experience a lot of those first, because I mean, obviously a lot of other players had already kind of had that, but it was a new experience for me. So it was a cool first few days.
That's cool. How would you guys handle it if your travel ball coach in the fall season said, there's 16 of you sitting here and only 2 of you are going to make this team? How would you guys react to that?
I think I would react like maybe just a little bit surprised of how he would bring that up, but I would try to make sure. I would try like just to make sure I'm a part of those 2.
I like it. Brian, how would that affect you? Yeah. That's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's either that or go ahead and pack up your stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of the truth of it. And at the same time, there's more than 2 guys in that room who made the big leagues. But I think the message kind of behind it was heard. And yeah, it's been cool to also, I think one of the coolest parts about has been getting to see other players make it and get called up to the big leagues. And so even like this past week, one of the guys I played with, he was drafted the year after me, but I played with him for 3 seasons in the minors. So he just got the call up. I want to say he's 29, 28. So we got called up by the Mets. And so, I mean, he spent, I want to say it was 7 years in either minor league baseball or injured or playing in Mexico. And so again, everybody has a different journey, but I think that it's been a cool thing too, is to get to see a lot of guys I played with or against play really, really well at the big league level.
So Aiden, you spent 3 years in the minors. Is that correct?
5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, 5 years.
Now, most people, when you get drafted, they're assuming you're getting $1 million paycheck and all of this stuff, and then it's sports cars and like jets and private jets flying you around. What's life like in the minor league?
Depends on who you are, but I think across the board for everybody, the minor leagues, and at least when I was there, I think it's a lot better now. I think the treatment of players is better. When I played there, though, it was pretty bare bones is kind of how I would describe it, especially once you're an affiliate. So I signed for $1,500, so not $1 million, because as a senior who had just graduated, I had no other options. And so it's interesting because, I mean, you could be somebody like me who signed for $1,500 playing on the same team as somebody who signed for $7 million. And I think that the overall like minor league kind of experience is, it's not super glamorous, but it's like what you want to be doing. So I think that once you kind of get out to an affiliate, and when I was there, the levels went, so you had in Arizona would be like rookie ball. And then from rookie ball, you had short season, you had low A, high A, double A, triple A, big leagues. So there's a lot of levels you're trying to get to. But I think that the big like misconception with minor league baseball is that players made a lot. So I think my first pro season, I made like $8,000 and had to pay for my room and had to pay for housing, had to pay for meals, tips, everything. So I think that at least my experience was pretty much you were kind of scraping by and getting through the season, and then you'd run out of your money pretty quick in the off season and get a job and work somewhere. So that's why I worked as a throwing trainer in season to be able to afford training in the off season.
Is that different than what you guys thought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys? $10,000 sounds like a lot to you guys. It's not once you have to pay for stuff. So now it is better, and that's something that I was a part of even when I was playing more so the MLB rights for like minor leaguers and becoming a part of the MLB PA. So now I think that the minimum is like 25,000, 30,000, and housing is covered, food is covered. So it's definitely a lot better now, but you don't make a lot of money until you reach the big leagues.
And then you can buy the sports cars and, the
Yeah, you
nice
might
con.
want the first few years in the big leagues. You might want to stick around for a few years before the sports car, but it's yeah, it's a pretty big jump. It would be like going from $1 to $10,000. Like it feels significant. And I still would say it's that way because I mean, the bonuses might be slightly better now, but for the most part, it's really the first like 3 rounds that most of that money goes towards. So
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You know, the MLB is the only really organization that's got a true farm system. I
yep.
know hockey's got some. I know
Mhm.
NBA's got a developmental league, and NFL's more so college. But
Yeah.
honestly, college football players and
Yeah.
baseball players with NIL these days make some decent money if
Yeah.
you play. So, but yeah, I mean, playing in the minors isn't necessarily the glitz and the glamour, but that's where you put in a lot of that work.
Yeah. It's where you
And
want to be. And I think
mhm.
the hardest thing I think for most players is going from college to pro ball is you're playing every day. So we'd play 140 games in 152 days. So you don't really have off days. And I think it's
Whoa.
particularly hard if you are a hitter. If you're a position player and you go from playing, it would be like right now, if you guys, right, you play 4 games on the weekend and then you have all week to kind of reset, to sleep, to train, to feel better. Um, if you played 140 days consecutively, it's going to be a little bit harder to recover and to feel good. So I think that's like the
Wow.
biggest difference is just the volume of games you play.
That's crazy. I wasn't aware of that. You said you played 140 days straight? I mean,
We
roughly?
played 140 games in like 152 days. So I think over the course of the whole season, you got about 7 off days, maybe. Um, and usually those off days are also you're on a bus driving somewhere for about 15 hours.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You guys still want to be professional baseball players?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not talking you out of it, is he? No? Now, here's the thing. You got to look forward to those hard days.
Yeah.
Right? You got to look forward to those long bus rides with no air condition. Right? I'm just making stuff
A
up
part
now.
of it.
Awesome. Brian, what you got next, man?
I mean, I would say I think it's hard work. And I would actually say, like, I'm sure you guys have heard the line, the whole hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think it depends on actually like the age and the level, because I think that the issue with that quote is it kind of implies that if you work hard, you will beat talented players. And that's not always the case. But if you choose to not work hard, it's like that's the decision you're making. So, I mean, I think it's always going to be the hard work, whether you are really talented or whether you're not talented. The hard work is going to be the biggest thing that makes you a better player. I also think that the older you get, and maybe it's even something you guys see now, is sometimes the most talented player in the room also, or at the age, they're just better and they don't have to work as hard. It doesn't mean that that will last forever. And so I do think that there's obviously, whether you're talented or not, the hard work is a part of it, especially with a sport like baseball. And also understanding that some players are just really, really talented. And I think that's maybe once you get to an older age, some players are just really good. Some guys throw harder, hit the ball further. And it's not necessarily because they work harder than you, but if you choose to not work hard, then that's your decision. And most likely that's kind of will be where your career ends. So
Yep. And if
it's a
you
good
get
question.
drafted out of high school in the first round, let me ask you a question, Brian. Which one matters then? Well, getting drafted, but do you still have to work hard or do you just get to coast by then? That's right. Because even though you drafted, in that first round, you still haven't made it yet, right? Like you still got to put that work in. And I think there's some kids that probably are your age that's very talented and they may choose not to work as hard as you guys. And maybe they don't end up going to where you guys are going because it's not in their heart the same way it is. So again, it comes back to the love of the game,
Yeah.
and not forgetting why you started.
Yeah. And I think one thing further too, and maybe this is like good for you guys to hear, is I think the more talented you are, the younger you are, the harder it is sometimes to actually make it as far.
Mm.
Because the more talented you are at a younger age, then unless you have the right kind of coaches and people and family and support and training routine around you, you're most likely just not going to work as hard because you don't really need to. So I do think there is something about the more talented you are, the younger you are. I think sometimes the harder it is for you to develop a work ethic and kind of like, again, understand how hard the game is. Because imagine that baseball's never been hard until you make it to pro ball. And that's like a very real thing. And it blew my mind. Baseball was always hard for me. And so some guys, though, you get to pro ball, and that's really the first time that they struggle. And that's a pretty harsh reality. Is like baseball has always been easy, and then you get to pro ball, and suddenly baseball is really hard. So I would actually think it's better for a younger player to know that baseball is hard and still choose to love it.
I like that's a great point, man. I think that every kid out there and parent should understand that. I think that's a great message, man. Mikey Barrels, you loaded up?
Yeah.
All right.
What advice would you give a 12 or 13-year-old who dreams of playing college or professional ball?
Ooh, best advice. Um, I think I would say that it's less important how good you are right now and more important about pretty much the work ethic that you're going to put in to become the player you are. So, kind of like it doesn't really matter as much how good you are at 12 or 13. What matters a lot more for the long term goal of college is how much work you're willing to put in to get there. Because no matter how good you are at 12 or 13, you're not going to commit to a college. You can't. You still have to play high school baseball. You still have to wait 5 years. And so I think that if you can almost like have the big goal that's like a little bit further off, the only thing that really matters is the day by day to kind of get there. So if you have, if you're 12 or 13 and you really want to play pro baseball, I think that's awesome. And I think that if you can focus on what you're doing today and tomorrow and the next day, I think that'll help a lot more than kind of like feeling like who you are right then isn't maybe as good as the player who needs to be a college baseball player, because you still have the same thing. You have a lot of time to grow and develop. And I think that who you are at 13 isn't going to be who you are at 14. And so the more work you put in, then the better chance you have of kind of hitting that goal that you want.
So hold on now. That I got to stop there. So you mean to tell me if I'm hitting 700 in Game Changer right now at 12, 13, that's not going to earn me a scholarship?
Yeah, unfortunately, it does not. Maybe fortunately for some people, yeah. It's like anything really like it's still good. Like, I mean, I think I'd have a hard time saying that 12-year-old me didn't wish he hit 700, but
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, it doesn't really pay off and it doesn't move it forward for you. Like,
Yeah.
there's no college, there's no pro team who's gonna really care about anything you did before you were 17 years old, 16 years old at the earliest. Um, so that's where like everything else, it's like if you enjoy playing, play. If you need a break, take a break. No team's gonna look back and be like, "Oh, you took a summer off from playing." Like it's
Ooh.
okay. So I think that whether you're hitting really well or really badly, it should kind of maybe it's reassuring to know that either way, it doesn't really matter as far as a long term goal goes.
Yeah, and I think what Aiden said just a little bit ago is you're working towards the
Mhm.
better version of yourself, right? The player that you want to be.
Yep.
Right? And to some degree you can't be satisfied when you're at your ages,
Yeah.
right? And just know you got to put in the work. Brian, how often you train, man? Okay. What kind of work do you do every day? Gotcha. Good. Mikey, how often you train, man? And it's okay if you say 3 days a week. I'm not going to be mad at you.
No, I work every day. I've been doing some ground balls. I always practice with ground balls. I always practice like hitting daily. And I always just try my best to just keep working because in the long run it would pay off. And lately I've also been hitting some weights at the same time.
Mm. Okay. Nothing too heavy, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
All right.
And
That's
I would
good
say
though.
too, for practice too, if you enjoy doing practice and it's what you want to do, that's the best reason to do it. Versus if it feels like it's something you feel like you need to do, or it starts to feel like a job, or it feels
Hmm.
like the only reason you're doing it is because you feel like you have to. Um, I think for guys your age, I would encourage you. You can take time off in the summer. You're in the fall. It's going to be okay because some of it too is no matter how much you train at 12 or 13, like your body still needs time to recover and your body still needs to grow. Just because you train more at 13 doesn't mean you're necessarily going to throw significantly harder at 13. But the more you train, also will probably benefit you long term. But I would just try to make sure too that it's because it's what you guys enjoy doing too. If it shifts over and practice becomes not fun, that's going to be more of a challenge because at some point, if baseball is not fun anymore, you don't want to play. I mean, for me as a kid, I played wiffle ball or trained and hit all the time. Like it was all I wanted to do. So I think that if it's what you love doing, keep doing it. If it ever feels like it kind of becomes a little bit unenjoyable or it's not fun, you can take a little break and come back to it.
Yeah. We get asked, and I get asked a lot. Like, my son wants to go play another sport
Yeah.
this season, but if he takes this season off, I'm scared he's going to get behind all of his other peers, right? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't believe it. Especially at a younger age. I do think that the conversation of specializing earlier and earlier is obviously a popular question, and I think that I tried other sports. Like I played one summer of basketball, did a bunch of other stuff. I always played other sports, but I didn't really like other sports. I wanted to play baseball year round. Um, so I mean, I would play kind of fall ball, play spring ball, play a little bit of summer ball, but um, it was just because that's all I really wanted to do. I think if you want to play other sports, definitely do it. I think that the specialization in my mind comes more so at least in like high school, and also because it's harder to play multiple sports in high school. It
Yep.
doesn't mean that you shouldn't, but I think that playing other sports can make you a better athlete. The better athlete you are, the better you'll be at baseball. So I don't think if you decide to take a summer off and try a different sport, you're not going to fall behind. Because again, some of this is also just like your body's going to grow, you're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger. And some of that obviously comes from the work you do, and some of that's also you're just getting older. So
Yeah.
I think there's a very good time and place for other sports and also just take a break from it.
Yeah. The mental side of the game is tough, right? That everyday grind can catch up to you. And
Yeah.
so make sure you stay in love with it, right? So, all right. What other questions you guys got? I know you guys got more questions.
Yeah.
Brian, what you got?
Oh, I mean, I'd have to say Otani. I feel like that would be the one player in like if you got a shot to face like the arguably one of the better hitters in baseball history. So I mean, I would probably say Otani. I also like the fact that he's a lefty. I threw really well to lefties. So I think that would be my pick, just because he's obviously such a great hitter. I mean, I would choose probably top three would be probably like Otani, Harper, and maybe Judge. Like you'd want to face the best hitters. I don't know how it would go. I mean, I would have rather faced them when I was throwing harder, but yeah, I would say those would be like my top three. I think all
What?
time, um, I think I'd probably include obviously Barry Bonds and probably Hank
Ooh.
Aaron in that conversation. So
Hmm.
the
You
best
said
hitter,
Otani, Harper, and who was that third one? Oh,
Judge.
Judge.
Yeah,
Judge. Now, Judge is a righty,
yep,
right?
he's a righty.
Right.
I'd throw him in though. Mix it
Okay.
up.
All right. All right. Because I'm like, okay, I know those are
Not throwing
two
any
lefties.
strikes. Yeah, it's all just gonna be out of the zone pitches. But yeah, those I would say those would be probably the guys I would choose to face.
You might have to throw one or two at Harper, get him fired up a
Got to
little
go
bit.
inside.
Yeah, bust him up. There you go. Mikey, what you got, bud?
You always say that baseball should be fun. With all the pressure young players face today, what do you think they can do to make sure they never lose love for the game?
Ooh, it's a good question. Um, I think it's probably more than one answer, but I think that some of it I do think is like just the overall kind of like pressure, if you're putting pressure on yourself versus if pressure is being put on you. One thing I think my parents did really, really well is I never felt pressure from them based on performance. So again, I mean, I didn't play very well when I was younger. But I never felt a pressure from them. So I think that there's a parental side of it and a coach side, whether that's a coach or your parents. I think that there's a some part of that is on them as far as if they're applying pressure to a player. But I think from a player, it's very easy to make baseball kind of this huge thing, right? It's like it's the only thing you like, it's the only thing you want to do, and it's kind of this like how much you want to be. And this was maybe my experience. How much I wanted to be a big league player almost felt a little bit heavy sometimes because it felt if I didn't get to do that, then I wouldn't know what I wanted to do or anything like that. So I think continuing to remember that it's a game, and I think some fun ways to do that. I mean, honestly, I grew up playing a ton of wiffle ball. I still stand by the fact I think wiffle ball is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like again, you are practicing, you are training, but it doesn't really matter what the score is. Doesn't really matter what your stats are. I don't remember ever keeping stats for wiffle ball,
Me neither.
but it was a ton of fun. And so I do think that sometimes the amount of games played or how long you play consecutively, if it starts to feel like it's not being fun, I honestly think that that's typically a good sign to kind of take a pause, maybe take a little bit of a break, because every time you go out, you should kind of want to feel like you should be. So I think there's maybe the parent and the coach side of it. And then I think as a player, it's just don't make it bigger than it is. At the end of the day, it is a game. And if you're not enjoying it, then it doesn't matter how good you do. So I think that that would be my best advice. And I think it was something that when I stopped playing, that was one of the things that I kind of noticed was I always felt like the day that I took the mound, I didn't really feel nervous, didn't really almost care. Was probably the day I should be done pitching, and that's kind of what happened. So I think it's the same way for big leaguers. And so I would say like best you can do to kind of keep it fun because the more you play, then kind of the harder it is sometimes if it's consecutive and you don't feel like you're kind of getting a break. So I do think breaks are good. I'm an advocate for them. Even as a pro player, I took breaks just completely away from it. And that way you almost want to get back to it.
Miss
So
it.
remember if like, yeah, if you've ever taken a break, maybe it's like holiday or something, and then you get that first game or first practice and you're all excited for it, that's a good feeling.
Like it. That's a good question, Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Good, good. I'm glad it does because you guys shouldn't be thinking about getting jobs right now. And the last thing you need
Yeah.
to do is turn baseball into a job,
Yeah.
right? There's a time and place when you guys need to be prepared to work as an adult. But as long as you can play baseball, man, make it fun, keep it fun. For the sure sake of time, we're going to have to let Aiden run, and we cannot let him go anywhere until we ask him the final question. All right. And so, Aiden, I will say this question usually stumps a lot of people. It's the hardest question I feel like we ask. And if you've listened to any episodes, you probably already know this question. I know these guys do, but I'm gonna set it up for you here. You wasn't a hitter. I mean, pitcher. So let's say you're taking the mound. You're closing the game, right?
Mhm.
You're closing the game. You got bases loaded, 2 outs, and you're
Okay.
coming in to get that last out. All right. What's going to be your walk-up song to the mound?
Ooh. I think of what it would be. I had a bunch of different. Kind of depends where it's playing, but one of my favorite ones as a closer I used was "Shipping Up to Boston."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Dropkick Murphys there.
Yep. Good
Okay.
walkout song.
Yeah. I working with the Bananas for a few years. That song is just like ingrained into my head because that's a
Absolutely,
part
yeah.
of the show. So, if you would have said that, 4 years ago, I would have been okay. I'll have to
Yeah.
go check that one out. But I know exactly what that one is. So, you guys know what song that is? You
Yeah.
guys go check it out because as soon as you hear it, you're gonna know exactly what it is. That's a
Yeah, I
great
think that was
song.
Papelbon's walkout in Boston when he was
Yeah.
closing games out. So
Yeah.
depends on the stadium a little bit, but I think that's a solid one to go with.
Someone else said that. It depends on where I'm playing at.
Yeah, because part of the walk-up song you choose is I feel is kind of based on fan engagement to some extent. So we've gone with some different ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I can't remember who it was that said it. They were like, if I'm playing in Oakland somewhere or in the Bay, I'm listening to some E40 or
Yeah.
some hip hop type
I would
stuff.
use like a Mac Dre song if it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, man, I appreciate you very much for coming on the show. Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
I hope so. Aiden, I know, man, you're all over the place, dude. I know you got a backyard sports hat on. What are you doing with backyard sports? Tell us about it really
Yeah, they've been
quickly there.
awesome. So they obviously the new game is out, and I've had the chance to work with them kind of before the game launched, and now that the game is launched, and they've been fantastic. So I mean, growing up, that was my favorite. Like I said, played a lot of wiffle ball. Also played a lot of backyard baseball. It was like the only video game I ever played. So
Yep.
it was one of my all-time favorites. So it's been super cool to see them. I don't know if you guys have played the new game. If you haven't, you should. It's a ton of fun, and it's also kind of again talk about keeping baseball fun, but kind of keeps the old school style, but also has some crazy new animation, which is really cool. So they're awesome people.
Awesome. Very cool.
And I have a small question.
Yeah,
Who would you rather, Kenny Kawaguchi or Pablo Sanchez?
Pablo Sanchez. I'm gonna take Pablo. I'll let Kenny pitch. I was like, I have him on the team as a pitcher. So, and I did figure out finally how to hit a little bit with him. But I mean, I feel like you gotta go with Pablo over everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look, Aiden, tell us how we can find you on social media, man.
Yeah. So socials, I think they're slightly different everywhere, but on YouTube it's just Aiden McIntyre.
Okay.
And that's kind of the main focus. And then on Instagram, it's Aiden McIntyre _. Those are kind of the main two. I'm also on TikTok. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know what my username on TikTok is.
That's okay.
But yeah, post a lot to both like long form content on YouTube as well as a lot of short form content as well.
Very cool. Well, hey, you know what, guys? Our YouTube just hit 125,000 views today.
Congrats, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Really?
I'm super proud of it, and these guys are a part of that journey with us and helping us grow our YouTube channel. So our field reporters, I give all the credit to those guys, man. Is those guys and gals? Let me correct that.
Yeah.
Because you guys have done amazing work, and it's showing off for us. So thank you guys very much. Mikey Barrels, how can we find you on social media, man?
You could find me on Instagram. And I've been doing this with my friend, his YouTube channel. I forgot the name, but I've been like helping him with it. So you could
Okay.
also find me there.
Very
Awesome.
cool.
Well, have your dad send that information over here, and we'll put that in our show notes so everybody can go watch you over there too, okay?
Okay.
And Brian, how can we find you, man? Yep. Kicking it with Brian with no G. Awesome. Well, and as far as the show, you can find us on all the social media channels at the S.L.I.D.E podcast show. And hey, go follow us. And if you know anybody out there that needs to be on this show and they've got a great story to tell, Mikey, you okay if they come on and talk to us?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Send them our way. We'd love to hear from them.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, look, thank you guys very much for tuning in. And Brian, close us out, man.
Until next time.
We'll catch you on the slide.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.